earlier. Again, nonstop shenanigans here in Los Angeles. So we were at the point in the story where Walter, he goes to see a play, and it's called Vivisection on the Danube. It's about rocketry, it's about aliens, it's about communism, and it's about modern art. And it's also about fascism. So don't forget, they're taking the mick out of the fascist government, but they're just like, they're just like government, quote unquote, right? They're just like in E.T. You know what I mean? Where it's just like in any of these big films. Do you guys remember the one about the tornado with Bill Paxton? And, guys who are dead now were in that. And they're like, they got corporate funding. We don't have any corporate funding. And they're like racing against the guys with the corporate funding. So it's like similar to that, because we know the government protects corporations before people. That's right. Absolutely. So Walter sees this play, and it changes his mind. It changes his life, or blows his mind. It changes his life, just like me. And I'm very proud of my accomplishments. Very little. So he, I went crazy. All right. Felt good. I just got to get my thoughts together. So that was funny, actually. That was really fun. That actually felt really good, and I could use a nice back scratch, man. Boy, that's the only thing. Like, I don't miss the person that I was with for 7 years. I miss, the companionship. Yeah, it's really pretty tough. Like I said, these guys spray painting Black Lives Matter and this kind of stuff around town. Well, the guy across the alley was doing the same thing. He was the brother of a police officer. I told you that. I see the same things, this eternal recurrence in my life over and over again. It's the same playbook, and these people are algorithm to really destroy people's minds. But what's worse than that is that you're getting confirmation bias only. So I urge you to take a break, maybe delete your app, delete one of these social media apps and do something else for a little while, and go back on and see how you feel. Because they were using that on me. Now we're at the point where Walter is about, I think he's less than about 20 years old. I guess he would be about 18, between 18 and 20, the way I was. And he sees this play, and he sees Eva, moreover, and he falls in love with her. And so he goes and he starts stealing raw stock. He's just checking out more raw stock than he's turning in. Okay, because they're shooting a little movie on the side. Think of Jean-Luc Godard shooting his films around Paris. I mean, this is the same essence. You understand? These guys are running around. He's hanging out with them, smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, drinking wine, drinking brandy. Very important, brandy. And so he's having a great time. But slowly, of course, time goes on, and they catch up with him. Of course, he's being spied on all the time. Gee, I wonder, is that like that these pieces of trash who come up around me, acting passive-aggressive? It's really pretty sad and awful, but we keep going. And like I said, you got to kill me to stop me. Make no mistake about that. And it certainly isn't going to be by cowards like Jason Clifton and these guys, because all they do is work with other gangs. They'll set me up. That's why Jason Clifton was working, and then the African Americans would come in and do their bidding, and then probably the police officer from New York would have actually committed the murder. Then they would have had the regular police show up, because when they showed up to my house, they were listening to everything that was in my house. Showing Scott's house next door were police officer, and she was male Fed rat outside our house. That's what they were waiting for. They had cranked the algorithm up so high, they knew that, and my sister fall for anything, right? Because until you can learn about it, doesn't matter what your GPA is, doesn't matter what your IQ is, anyone can fall for anything, and now it's especially worse that they use algos. So, Walter, I gotta start all over. We're getting good at this, guys. I'll be uploading the earlier episodes, so please watch them both. I really appreciate it. So Walter has to flee the country, and one of the last things his dad and uncle do is they forge him papers. They forge him steamship papers, whatever, right? And they cocoon. So he has the ID, he has the uniform, and he can go anywhere. So he takes the steam trunk full of film footage and he hightails it out, and he gets out, but he has to leave Eva and his friends behind, and his dad and his uncle. I don't love anything but family, and I'd be willing to give my life for my family. I know that for a fact. So again, where does he land? He lands eventually. It takes him a long time, but he comes here to America, right? He finally lands where? The same place that Godwin gets on the ship in San Francisco. And so he has to take a cab from San Francisco all the way down to right here in Hollywood. And so by the time he gets down here, right? So he has money, you know, whatever, and he has forged papers, and he has all this raw stock, or I'm sorry, negative. And so when he shows up, I didn't tell you guys, shh, he's asleep. He's asleep in the cab. I don't know who this guy is. He told me to come down here to the studios. Wake up. He's like, right? He's just stressed out of his mind. You know how people stress for no reason? Yeah, I think some of you do. He's stressed out of his mind. And he can't wake up, man. He's out of it. And so, again, you don't have to get into the minutia of it. The guy opens up the trunk and he sees it's raw stock because it's taped and it's written on there. Or I'm not raw stock. I'm sorry. I kept saying that negative, right? So it's taped in and there's writing on there. So when there's writing on there, you know that it's spent film, that it's negative. He sent him to the laboratory. So the guy drives him to the laboratory, takes his money. You don't have to get into that. Like I said, the next scene is him passed out in the lobby of the laboratory and the film processing laboratory. And you have Jerry walking down the hall, right? And Jerry is one of three brothers in the studio. And he just sees guys coming and going all the time. You don't know who's who. And so he sees, like, what are you processing? What is this? And he's like looking at it. And then he looks and he sees, and they got copious amounts of notes, just like me. That's what I'm saying. I'm putting my real life into this project. I'm putting my blood, sweat, and tears into it. You can see I don't eat. I eat $6 per day. That's what I eat. I haven't had a coffee in 4 days. I drink. Can't eat those in the library, but maybe I can until something changes. So that's just a little bit of Walter's life. I don't want to keep you too long. I do a lot of shows. I did a lot of shows this week. I stand by everything that I've said. You can take me to task. Hey guys. How's it going? So, yeah. Anyways, I was doing a reading. I have a book. That's why I read the LA Noir, a couple of stories from that. But I do have a book that I'm reading. I just saw a book that somebody threw away that I'd love to read, but I have to finish the book that I have first. I can't carry around. Obviously, I can't carry around books with me. I have a tent and I have some. Like I said, my car was sabotaged, and hey man, I don't run game on people, and I think people who electronically harass people are pathetic. I think people who are passive aggressive, who turn on people who've never crossed them, are pathetic. And is to have your here in LA. I'm going to work, and so you guys know the story, right? So Walter, they look at all these notes, and instead of getting in trouble, Jerry start talking, right? Jerry, everything is smoky oak and offices like The Godfather. You understand? Low lighting, echo lighting. When it comes to Jerry, even when he has to view the films, right? You're only going to be in the screening rooms. Screening rooms are dark and smoky, like De Niro and the producer, stuff like that. We've seen all this before, but we're incorporating it into a different animal, okay? We have direction. We know where we're going with this. And And this guy is a Stanley Kubrick style Corman. He's more prolific than Corman. And again, you're going to incorporate all these directors into this. They'll be talking about those directors in when? In 1987. Okay? When the punk band is starting. And again, just like me, on the periphery, you have drug dealers, you got these old gangsters, you got the bar owners, right? These guys are like the sons of old-time mobsters and stuff like that, right? And then, you know, these kids in this local scene start coming up, right? And they're going to be looking. I wasn't able to watch all of Stanley Kubrick's films. I only saw a few of them until I took the time to sit down to watch them, right? We finally sat down and we watched THX 1138. We are 138. We are 138. We are 138. Okay, so this is 38 means change. 38 is part of gematria. So with 1138, 11 is a master number, right? So that has to do with like Freemasonry, which is like, you know, dialectic, right? Order out of chaos. Sometimes you have to create the chaos. Sometimes you have to pit two sides against each other, create a synthesis, right? Which is what they do here in America, okay? So listen, guys, thank you very, very much for listening to my story. I'm going to get further and further along in this story, God willing, right? I love living here. The people who aren't LARPers, targeters, and trash are really, really nice. And it's just really sad. It's hard to know people. I don't understand why they would do something like this. They just keep showing up no matter where I'm at. They start acting out around me. And again, it's getting me to say this on camera. So it's, oh, he's paranoid. But let me tell you something. This is very true and real. And I just wish I had a decent friend to confide in. Hopefully, things will change. At this point, I can't trust anyone. You. Thank you very much.